It's time now for the Ask the Mayor program here on your hometown news station, AM 1300 KGLO, as Thursday, July 16th, and usually the second full week of the month. We talk with Clear Lake Mayor Mark Ebeling, and we welcome you back into the studio.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. We're just under 2 weeks away from 4th of July happened, and a lot of great things happening. It's the biggest 5-6 day stretch on the community always, and a lot of positives out of it. Of course, the big positives is everybody coming to town and enjoying themselves.
Yeah, I think it was a fantastic celebration. Weather was iffy at times, but people hung with it, and
I think we saw a little of everything on the 4th, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
But I just one of the things that was brought up out of that was, and I know you made a comment about it at the council meeting last week about the fireworks, not the fireworks that we see at 10 o'clock on the lake, but the fireworks that everybody else does. And I know Assistant Chief Mike Keefe, who of course was used to work with the Iowa State Fire Marshal's office, was up at the council meeting asking the council to kind of lead an effort to maybe to see if we can get the state law changed where it's more of a state law than it is a local control thing in dealing with fireworks on the 3rd and 4th. And like I said, you popped in as well in that conversation, saying that you had heard several complaints about people not being able to enjoy the fireworks at 10 o'clock because of the individual firework use.
I did. I guess I'm turning into an old fuddy-duddy, but
it happens to all of us.
Yeah. But less than a block away from where I was watching the fireworks, someone decided to have their own
little show,
and it was pretty disruptive, honestly. Like I mentioned at the meeting, there's a lot of donations that go towards the fireworks that the chamber puts on, and we created the endowment so those fireworks would never go away. And it's just, it takes away from all the hard work that people have done and continue to do to put on the fireworks. And it's kind of disruptive, unfortunately.
State overreach obviously is the case here, according, from what Mike Keefe had talked about during the meeting, and his call for the city leaders to maybe lead an effort to do that. Is that something that the city's going to try to push local lawmakers to see if they can get something twisted and turned on that, or looking at the political landscape of how that came about, is that almost an effort that might not go anywhere?
I honestly don't know. I don't know how it came about. It just, to me, it seemed like just overnight, boom, we get fireworks. I mean, They made some adjustments after the first year, which was good. But it'd be interesting to talk to other cities, other mayors and councils and see what their thoughts are. And I think if there's enough pressure that maybe something could be done about it, maybe regulate it some more, because it's a matter of time before something bad does happen. It's going to be a severe issue if something were to happen.
Right. One of the other things, of course, that happened on the 4th of July that I just want to point out the efforts the Clear Lake Fire Department. Obviously, there was a rescue effort on the lake that involved the DNR and the fire department, and an unfortunate tragedy happened there. But when looking at the rescue efforts, that's exactly why that rescue boat was invested in. Actually, I believe some people helped get that boat established on the lake, and has been a good resource for Clear Lake.
We're very fortunate to have it, and thank you again to those that donated to it. I don't think there's another one like it in the state. Minnesota, maybe, I don't know.
Right.
But it's great that our first responders are able to get out there and be able to help with that, type of watercraft. It's a difficult thing.
Well, I want to look back a couple of council meetings ago, back on June 15th, and one of the first things that was talked about in that meeting was a proposed condo project in the Surf District. And there's obviously a lot of things going on in the Surf District right now, and I know you probably want to get us up to date on the hotel project and whatnot. But council was a little had a little cool reception on the idea of that condo project in the surf district. It appeared.
Yeah, a little bit. I know, the rumors were going back a year or more about that potentially happening. And my first blush at that time was, well, that just seems like a bad idea. But having seen, the building and the layout, I think it's a great addition. It's, what we've done in the surf district is really encouraging a lot of private investment, which is what we wanted to get going.
Right.
I look at it as, really, I mean, we need more housing. It may not be the right fit for everybody, but on the flip side, for those that it is right for, maybe they decide, what, it's time to downsize. This is a nice place to live. It's close to everything. There's restaurants in the surf district within walking distance of downtown. And then does that open up housing opportunities for young families to move to Clear Lake, which I think it certainly could.
Get us up to date on the rest of what's going on in the surf district right now with obviously the hotel project getting underway.
The hotel has a whole bunch of concrete, and they're going to start going vertical soon. Fingers crossed, next summer it will be open. But it's I can't wait for it to be done. It's going to be an absolute fabulous amenity, not only for the surf and the Mac, but for including downtown.
Looking at a few other things from that council meeting, once again, a couple of council meetings ago, doing a new lease with the school district on the tennis and pickleball and basketball court project. And once again, that's, obviously there had been a 50-year lease on that before, which, you look at nowadays, you're like, you did a 50-year lease on that? Now, the new one's 10. But once again, going back, it's the school and the city partnerships. This is just another one of those that has been very successful through the years.
It has been, and and it's been between obviously city and school, but also on the private side with the pickleball folks who have raised a lot of money to really get it to where it is today. And I foresee, that's going to continue to grow and more amenities brought and just more improvements.
And speaking of agreements with the schools, the city and the school district got together to get the 2080 agreement and a job description for a school resource officer. Maybe just talk about the importance of having such an officer in our school district.
I think it's a good thing for kids to have positive interactions with law enforcement starting in their younger years. And that officer is going to be the right fit. They'll spend half of their time with the school, going between, each building. And, again, it's, creating that relationship is good. And, there's, hopefully that officer is going to be able to get to know the kids well and can maybe, take care of some issues that before they become big issues. So I'm excited about it. The school district's excited about it. So it's, again, working with other partners,
right,
which is great.
Something that was kind of crossed over from that June 15th meeting and the first meeting of this month, talking about the Gabrielson surgical clinic expansion, the expansion in Ryco as well, and maybe just get us up to date on where those sit right now and dealing with the city on getting some sort of development agreement figured out.
Yeah, so that's on our the agenda Monday night. I think it's fantastic to see two locally owned businesses expand, one expanding services and doing a considerable addition, which is, it's just great to see. And then the other Ryco going from a smaller building to a much larger building, right, to, oh, we've outgrown this, we need to add on to that too. It's just great to see that, that success of local businesses, and happy that the city's willing to help out with those expansions.
So like Mayor Mark Ebeling here on the Ask the Mayor program today here on KGLO, and kind of shift into that Monday, July 6th meeting that the council had Well, here's another thing that the city and the school working on. A little bit different than what we just talked about earlier with pickleball courts and school resource officers. Uh, on the July 6th meeting, talked about chickens and not the ones that are going to be served on Saturday or Sunday. Talking about FFA projects at the school.
Yes. Full disclosure, I have a conflict of interest. Both my kids are in FFA,
right.
But no, I'm happy to see that, the council went along with that. It's limited to 10 chickens up at the high school. They're going to be out of sight. I really think it's, they're going to blend it with, I don't know, chemistry or biology class and what have you. And I think it's great for those kids to learn about that stuff. I really do. FFA is a great program. I'd be remiss if I told you how many kids were in FFA, but it is a lot. And I think
it's been a growing program in the last few years at Clear Lake High School.
Yes. Yep. It has been.
And obviously the way the city ordinance reads right now just didn't really let them, officially have that. It was something that has to come. If anybody has a request like that, they have to come before the council, right? To do that, or is it just basically you're not supposed to have chickens?
Well, our city ordinance still states no chickens. This is an exception. We can cancel that at any time.
Sure.
We will get a report next year regarding how everything's going. If there's complaints, we'll have to address those. Of course, there are no roosters, so
that will help.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, it will. But
especially if we get that daylight savings time bill passed through Congress, you might need a rooster to get everybody to class in the winter with the 8:30 sunrise. Yeah. But anyway, that's another story for another time. Council also got an update on the Lake Theater renovation, which obviously Aaron Donaldson had come to the council last year when he was starting to kick off that idea of renovating that building, which once again is kind of a landmark when we talk about downtown Clear Lake, and just his effort to want to not only preserve it, but do some different things for the future. Obviously great that he's able to step up and do that. Of course, with some help from, and I know there's a state grant, at least I think the city's helped a little bit on that as well, right?
Yeah. Yep. The city has committed to $200,000 over 3 years. Without that, he wouldn't have been eligible for the 100,000 Catalyst grant, which you'll be able to fix the roof and do some other things. But he is gung-ho, and it's fantastic to see. And the vision, wow. Again, I'm not a creative person, but to see what he presented at the council meeting is just fantastic, and it's going to be a great amenity for Clear Lake.
If I remember right, it's just not going to be a theater. There's going to be some, he's kind of opening up the plan. Just, you can have different type of events in there, more than just showing movies, which obviously it's got, it still has a great run of doing first run movies.
Right. There. Yep. Movies. There'll be upstairs I forget what he called it, a mini movie room.
Yeah.
And then a stage, so you can have performances there. So, and he's, gone to conferences, across, I think he was at one last week again, talking with other movie theater owners, and the architectural firm that he's working with this is kind of their bread and butter.
Right.
So, man, it's going to be great to see that come to fruition.
Moving back to the end of June, where the special meeting was held, talking about housing in Clear Lake, and the Iowa Economic Development Authority coming in with the governor's Empower Rural Iowa initiative, and maybe just talk about what was all talked about in that meeting specifically, and why that meeting was held.
So that was a boost meeting, and there were 6 representatives from the state, and it was a very frank conversation, which was good to have.
Yeah.
So they're going to, take everything that they heard and, take a look at the community overall and come back with a report. And, here's what you can do, and here's where we see, the most benefit. So it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out. I'm kind of excited about it. It's good to have people from the outside come and, take a look at things, because, I don't, it's not tunnel vision, but
Right.
um, you just kind of maybe don't see the big picture as well. So it's going to be exciting.
Were there some things that they kind of talked about in that meeting that really popped out in your mind that they kind of, hinted that maybe the city should be doing?
Not initially. I think they need to get, a look at things in a whole. But, one of the representatives came from Iowa Great Lakes, Spirit Lake, and, there's some similarities there, and they have kind of some of the same challenges that we have. But yeah, so it'll be fun to watch that progress and see what they come up with.
And you talk about, people from the outside looking in here, coming into the community. The city went through that, last year about this time as well, when there was a different group from the Iowa Economic Development Authority that came in and kind of did an assessment of the downtown area.
Yep. That's still kind of a work in progress. And we did another one specifically this was a week or so ago, specifically to look at buildings and doing building improvements. There's old buildings they're kind of expensive to repair.
Yeah.
So we're exploring that, with doing, depending on the building and what needs to be done to, help preserve that look of Main Street. So again, another work in progress.
Okay, right. 4th Avenue South. I know that's, a project that's been looked at here for several years. Is there anything to talk about with that project? It sounds like city may have gotten some disappointing news on it.
We did.
Recently.
Yep. We did not qualify for that build grant this go around. There is a meeting, I think in August, to kind of go through the things of basically the Fed saying, well, we like this, we don't like this. So with those pointers, hopefully we can apply again and get something to happen with that. Because it would be nice to have that look a little bit better,
right,
as one of the gateways to town.
Well, hopefully that would get improved eventually. But obviously, biggest thing is you have to have money to do it,
right,
or the funds to do it. So, we talked about 4th of July, to start out our conversation, and I know with your predecessor, Mr. Crabb, we would always talk about this time of year that there's always a lot of stuff going on downtown, and the month of July is always a very busy month. Of course, this weekend, several things going on. Of course, we had Dave Fritz in here earlier this week to talk about the chicken barbecue on Sunday. But there's other things going on, not only this weekend, but like there's between Memorial Day and Labor Day, there's always stuff going on downtown in that park.
There is. And on my way over, I couldn't for the life of me remember what was Saturday, and then it dawned on me we've got the classic boat show Saturday, and the VFW 250th celebration kind of combined sort of with the street closing. So there's always something, which is good.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add before we let you go? Any other topics?
I can't think of anything.
We hit it pretty good, didn't we?
I think so.
All right. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you next month at this time, hopefully.
Right.
So
thanks, Bob.
All right. Mark Ebeling joining us here on the Ask the Mayor program today, here on your hometown news station, AM 1300 KGLO.